Elige, and Fugly. Young blood, they've got a lot of young talent, and I like Dan's point as well about what he said about Fugly, because we talk about Nitro and Elige being huge entry fraggers for the North American roster, but Fugly's CT sides are unsung at times.
Absolutely. And then across from that, you also got Hiko, right? A guy that is just capable of pulling off the most ridiculous plays out of nowhere. So there's a lot of potential of both teams, and this is why it's such a difficult game to predict, because they can have brilliant moments, but I think it's safe to say both teams have their inconsistencies too. They can not show up for games, they can get battered on sides you wouldn't expect them to, and therefore we just got to wait and see what happens here, as we're going to be jumping into the first map very shortly, I think.
And as the cameras go back to Adren, another point, he stepped up online recently as well with the AWP, but his mind and his reflexes are going to have to be equally matched, because he's got to go up against a tough Australian talented team. Nitro, the role restructuring does put him in a position that I've been advocating him be better in for a long time. He's got such accuracy, and if you go back actually to the December Season 18 ESEA LAN, it seems like an eon ago. It's almost a year now, I suppose, as we are coming up on that date again, but he actually was the top fragging North American player when he was entry fragging for iBuyPower at that tournament. So this is actually, in my opinion, a much better fit. We'll see if he can find the openings. The B platform might be somewhere that we look to him to do that, but as we said, Renegades are going to be absolutely out and poised to shut them down. Sponge was deeply, deeply remorsed about their performance in London, and he's out to avenge it.
The thing too, no breakdancing. Nice. I like it. The thing as well about Cobblestone, right, is there's such a long amount of time, a long amount of distance between the sites that players like Nitro, if they can get the entries, these are the maps where he could shine the most. After this, of course, is Overpass as well, and we've seen what entry fraggers are capable of doing, so here we go. We are going to have dual Berettas once more, this time in JKS's hands, and the fast push through drop zone is going to play right into his hands. 2 frags for him. He will get traded out, and maybe the Terrorists can push onto the site nonetheless.
It is a hard rotation point, though, because both Sponge and Yam are way over on the A-long position. They were held in place by Fugly, who does do a little bit of off-site lurking. You'll see he and Hiko, depending on the map, will each take turns, but Liquid, they still need to find this last kill at the chicken coop. They haven't done it, and the rotations have arrived, so their job gets a lot harder as there's still a man down, and Azur, he's going to make it even more problematic. Adren gets obliterated on the site. Bomb's still up and in play, but they don't even have the utilities to plant it, and now it's dropped as Havoc tears the head off Hiko. He follows it up, and Fugly's dropped down as well. The CTs start off with the opening round.
Yeah, great hold. Overall, Dual Beretta started things off for JKS, but as you said, it was the chicken coop that was the main position there. I feel like if there's no one in chicken coop, they know that's free. It allows them to push towards the doors, lock down drop zone as well, get that bomb planted, and from there on in, you're favoring Liquid to potentially take the round. So a key round there, key couple of moments. Renegades, though, now of course going to be buying themselves full SMGs, which is interesting. Often you'll see at least 1 M4, potentially 2, thrown in the mix or for mass.
So it's limited force for Team Liquid. Head armor on all 5, 3 Tech 9s, only a single smoke. Hiko's the one holding on to it. Bombs in the hands of Adren and down over drop. They do take JKS. It's an even trade. That'll pick them up an SMG to play with as well. But as soon as they try and use it, Sponge will make them pay as they walk out through the flowers. And Azur's waiting on the opposing doorway, so locked in position at the bottom of drop. Watch for Hiko, though. He has put himself against the smoke. Nice re-peek, rather, by Havoc to take down Fugly. And it's just left to Hiko now, 1-on-2. Sponge is only on 29 HP, so it gives him a bit of a chance if he can find that pick early enough, but they've got bomb down.
Yeah, and look where that bomb's dropped as well. This is so good for the CTs. Going to be dropping up as well, so there's 2 different tiers to push through from Hiko's perspective. He's not going to expect that second player up on top. In actual fact, they do vacate the premises. 40 seconds, he could actually get this bomb and potentially sneak his way out of drop zone without being spotted. And that's exactly what's going to happen. What? Why is Sponge gone to A?
I'm a bit confused by this as well.
Did they know? They definitely saw the bomb, right?
Absolutely. It was at their footsteps. I have no idea why they wouldn't. I mean, the only way that they could look at this is trying to keep Hiko from picking up a rifle, but by splitting up, now it's going to be a bomb plant. This gives Liquid more money after a second round force buy. They didn't get a bomb plant in the first round. So this is just a lot more to work with. They are going to get grouped up, fortunately, so they don't one-on-one on the retake, but Hiko's already got the first on Sponge J, and he's going to win it against Havoc. That's a massive misplay from Renegades.
There's 2 ways of looking at that. 1, Hiko well played, but 2, as you said, hit the nail on the head. Huge misplay. You've got the bomb down. I thought they were going to boost up on drop and have 2 separate angles So Hiko cannot get both frags at once, right? He's going to pop around the corner, they're going to trade 1 for 1, and then Renegades win their buy-up round. But a couple misplays as well. Going for full SMGs when you realize Liquid could go for the force buy puts you in a disadvantageous position in some cases anyway. You saw the SMGs were not doing the same level as work because of the head armor.
That's insanity. I mean, this just now gives Liquid such an opportunity to take rounds on this T side. And remember, this is Renegade's map choice. As Liquid with a Liege, with an AK-47 already look to enter onto this B site, but it's Nitro going forward as he's got the SMG. He can scout it out, try and walk into the site, and look at the entries. He's getting 3 kills. He seems like he never gets 1. It's always multiple when he finally walks in. Same case here as Liege will take down Azur as well. Havoc left in a 1-on-5 with just the pistol, potentially trying to do some exit damage, but this round as well is going to go to Team Liquid.
Absolutely will. Question is, can Havoc get a couple of exits before this round reaches its conclusion? He's got a P250, no real need to save this. Honestly, if you had Kevlar, then maybe I'd be saying just pull yourself back and save that. But there you go. He's looking for the exits. Did pay off for him. Liquid, very convincing round. I don't think they lost anybody that round. Very well done.
Yeah, that was impressive. Very, very impressive to start things off again, coming off the back of that eco win by Hiko. And it's definitely turned the tables. There was no buy from the CTs in that round. And this is smart as well, putting Nitro to go forward into the site with the SMG. Don't risk the rifles, and he ends up picking up 3 kills, the third with the pistol, and they're still limited. As they did elect to go to P250s, they'll stick with P250s and CZ75s here, no armor. So this gives Liquid a chance to expend to 3, lobbing the nade in toward the alleyway. Nitro, again, given space. They're going to have to be weary of this. Again, if you give a guy with that much accuracy room on that platform, he'll just tear this B site wide open. As the bomb will also enter in the hands of Liege.
There's a good Molotov as well. It forces out the chicken coop player back onto the site. Liege did spot that, and now it's only a matter of time before that MAC-10 goes to work. Double frag for Nitro. He's just stacking up the money. 3 frags for him, and he's hungry for more. He is greedy for kills. Oh. Beautiful shot there, actually, onto Rock on JKS. And there you go. Liquid, 2 consecutive rounds without losing a single soul.
And we're starting to see signs of the form that Liquid has yet to translate on to LAN. Nitro looking brilliant so far. Again, we haven't really seen a full gun round come into effect, so we won't read too far into it. But as you said, stacking up the money, another 4 kills, 3 of which with the SMG. Didn't quite catch what he's got for money there, but yeah, there we go. 5,700 post-buy, 7-2. He leads the way right now. And what can they do to respond on the Australian side? It's all rifles, no AWPs out. A Galil for Hiko. That's the only weakened one because he's not willing to upgrade. They want to build the bank with that flash. They're side by side. Nitro hasn't spotted him yet. He turns around and eventually Yam will go down. They pretty much shook hands. And Elise follows it up. So the 1-2 punch continues for Team Liquid.
Super aggressive play from Liquid pays out dividends for them. They haven't got the bomb planted just yet, but it's more frags coming in. Nitro spraying through the smoke. Nearly gets the double. Finally goes down. The damage is surely crippled Renegades this round, and just add insult to injury as it gets picked off from the Molotov. Liege switches weapons back to the AK, picks off Havoc, and Nitro, the only player to fall. First in, first to die, but what a round again.
And you're already seeing the role restructuring come into play. Again, Nitro walking in, getting frags. Liege is there to follow it up, the second man on the entry. But Hiko, we've only seen him come in 1 big round, but it was huge. That's when he has to clutch out. That's his role in this team, to lurk and close rounds. And simply because he did that, now he's gone. He doesn't even have to be a presence if they continue to find these frags. And already back to pistols. Money, a huge factor on the CT side. Fortunately, the lost round bonus has already hit 4 rounds, and if they complete this anti-eco, it will max out following, but it's a rough start for Renegades.
Oh, absolutely. This is pretty much as rough as it gets, especially the nature in which they lost one of those first rounds with that Hiko. What was it, a 1v3, 1v4 clutch? Just madness. So that can put players in that kind of into a tilt kind of mode. It is still early days, of course, in this best of 3. Plenty of time for Renegades to bounce back, not just on this map, but overall. This round, though, is going to be going very comfortably across the Liquid. And just, I'm very curious as well, after this game reaches its conclusion, I would love to hear what the analysts have to say about that Hiko round. Like, why Renegades split up in the manner they did.
Oh, I mean, again, that's the big thing, right? Because that's what started this whole comeback for Liquid, this whole stretch of rounds they now have. As they're about to be on 5-1. Sponge is in a good position to look for exits, but they're aware of his presence. They're not going to take any chances. But it could have been 3-0 CT side. Then you go into a first gun round, and who knows what happens. And they'll get him down, so no guns dropped. This is just looking better and better for Team Liquid. So,
and in 4 rounds, they've lost 1 player.
That's true.
Liquid.
That's actually very, very true.
That's just money all over the place. They could probably buy gold-plated AKs right now. They're swimming in it.
And here's the question, what's the buy going to be? So there's only limited still with the money. Yam could have gone for that AWP, but he wouldn't have had utilities to play with. No head armor kits on everyone. You almost start to wonder if they try and use this money bonus to get back into it. Teams in this situation oftentimes will go for the double op, but it's not a common play for Renegades, so they're going to have to do this traditionally. Azur gets under the archway, and if Liquid are smart, they'll Molotov that. It's become standard play, and Nitro seems to be ready to do so.
And that's the issue. The traditional play has just not been working for them so far, like at all. And you can see Liquid, like 4 players, I think, over 10k, so they can afford to lose 2 or 3 rounds, still rebuy. There's no easy rounds, is what I'm saying for Renegades. Every single round for the next 15 minutes is going to be tooth and nail for them.
Speaking of the AWP as well for Renegades, one of the things with Team Liquid is Adren won't often go for the T-side AWP unless he feels it's desperately required. He'll leave it to Nitro to make the call. He'll occasionally pick it up, but in a situation like this, again, like you said, only 1 player dying, as Adren's gonna open up on Yam. Nitro again following in. Only 1 player dying, there's no need to upgrade, so there's no need to even look toward that. The rifle's working wonders, and there it is again. Elise just walking in, late into the site this time. Not necessarily right on the heels of Nitro, but either way, does his job, and they only lose 1 in this round as well.
Have we even seen Liquid attempt an A so far?
Why need to? Why bother?
Exactly. They simply don't need to. And like Renegades, they have to have a pretty strong inclination. It's going to be B. And even with that knowledge, they still can't do anything.
Well, and the problem is if they start to stack it up, this actually kind of works in Liquid's favor, because then they go, all right, let's go away.
Let's go away. And
as long as they can scout it out slow enough, they'll get that information and make that call. And again, we're going to see it. 2 players over toward A. It's Havoc. And if I'm not mistaken, it's Sponge that's going to be out toward that highway position.
Again, it's an eco. Again, it's just pistol upgrades and that's all. No grenades to play with. And, well, Havoc has no life either. At least Azur's going to pick himself up a frag, and the AK-47 tries to go to work up on Plat, but Adren's there with 2 of his own frags, and Liquid will be extending their lead further, barring a miracle from JKS. It's pretty much going to have to him to pick this one back up in the position he was in, and the fact that his teammate Sponge was on, what, like 25 HP, I think, so a comfortable round again. This has been a horrendous start for the Aussies.
And they look silent. This is not what Sponge wanted. He's got to come up with something clever here now, and maybe it is time for that B stack, as guns are going to come back out. Liquid will know that they're in that position as well. We'll see if Adren makes the call to slow things down, but the quick pace is working. There it is. The double op's already up. They are going to go this desperate play to try and find an opening.
Yeah, you called it.
Sponge and Yam, they'll be the ones holding on, and split on either side. Sponge is actually leading off to get a quick rotation into B, and the fast pick from Yam. That's exactly what they need. Nitro down, the man who's been the biggest threat for Team Liquid, and finally an opening that the Australians hope to build off. Tree to boost as well, so trying 2 different plays here to try and catch off Team Liquid.
Absolutely. That was a key frag as well. If Yam misses that and dies, it puts Renegades in such a bad position, because they then have to spread thinner across the map. They're going to have an open play effectively as well, so if the smokes start to land, it could just domino out of control. That being said, there's still a minute to play with, and the way that Liquid have been getting the entries, you would not put this past them. They are going to be dropping into the zone right now. JKS outside, so is Azur. So they've given this up. This is what you see a lot at the top level. Just give up drop zone. Liquid still have to break out of this. They have to breach onto the site.
But look how much slower the pace has become simply due to this 1 pick. Now, Renegades can start to establish a presence. Liquid tries to bait out some utilities. They will get a Molotov from Azur, and still 40 seconds to work with. But Elige, this is where he needs to step up. Instead, it's Fugly. They go passive, and he gets that slight opening. The smoke disables JKS from being able to spot them up as well, but he'll walk in behind Fugly. And now Renegades, they've got Yam in a good position, but the shots come through, and Hiko. Now is time to shine. Mid-round, Sponge gets back into Elige, but he's the only one left. Adren versus Hiko, the 2 most experienced players, or rather Adren and Hiko versus Sponge. I don't really think they want to go against each other. They should rather work together, but Sponge is looking with the AWP, and what a shot from Adren.
Renegades, man, I don't want to seem too harsh. They have not shown up yet. If you watch that round back, I guarantee you'll see no crossfires from the CT side. It was one peeking, dying one after another. No crossfires onto platform, no flashbangs beforehand. They just got out-fragged, as simple as that. And they had the first frag, like everything was going in their favor.
And because of that double off buy, look at Sponge and Yam. Mag 7 for Moss. At least they try something creative again. Sponge looking, maybe not even to get, okay, he does go up. I thought he might just sit there and take the long shot, but he comes through, does take down Hiko. Now they've got to divide their attention and fall back on him, and Fugly's there. He switched over to the AK Sponge, but didn't get more than a step with it, and that brings us back to 4-on-4.
Oh, but JKS does eat a bit of damage at the end there, just off the Molotov. I thought could have been a lot worse. Havoc, meanwhile, does push up. Doesn't get much from this one. He's going to run out of bullets pretty soon. He's about to get pushed as well. There we go. It's a Dren. And again, the even trade will favor Liquid, not just in this round, but economically speaking as well. Renegades have to win this round clear from this point.
Azure is going to push toward this lower position. He's in between the doorway, so aggressively forward. Liquid rotating back onto this A side. It is the right call. He needs to get this read early, though, and does. Now he can call for the rotations because they were a long way away inside the B site. He needs to fall back and stay alive, but he's in no man's land. He's going to have to hug the corner and hope they walk through without checking it. And he hears the bounce and realizes it's a flash, or rather a smoke and not a flash. So he can keep his attention on the doorway. They don't come through just yet, and eventually when Elige does, it's successful. It also has allowed time for a Dren to get to Stables. Crossfire set up, but Nitro's still alive, and he'll take down Yam. It's all left to JKS. First shot successful, needs to take the one over the car, and a Dren does. And now it's back to just the one-on-one, but Nitro doesn't even go for the plant, doesn't even care. And it's now 9-1 for Team Liquid.
Hiko looks so relaxed right now. Completely understandably, his team is just rocking it. And that round as well is kind of like a summary as to why equipment, utility is so important. You saw the CTs, you mentioned this at the start of the round, Matt, that they were a bit low on weaponry, right? They had very few grenades, so with like 40, 50 seconds to go, they had nothing to shield off the push at all. So Liquid just walked on through. And
this will be the test right now for Havoc, because when we saw him in London, this is where he got caught off guard a lot. The first pick went against them on several occasions when he played forward on A. We haven't seen it yet this game simply because they haven't been going A. You mentioned that, Vince, but now they are, and Sponge! He actually gets taken down. That's unfortunate. Two players walk by, and when he re-peeks, he wasn't ready for the company, and there it is. Havoc goes down to Nitro again. This is massive miscommunication from Renegades. I almost think that they picked this map today thinking, we struggled in London. I would anticipate, and I'm speculating here, but they probably would have come here to boot camp, as they were, like Dan said, or rather Yanko said, in the practice room the most of any team leading up to this game day for them. I imagine they probably put a lot of emphasis on Cobblestone, and it's just still not working out for them.
It's the terrifying prospect, isn't it? Now, again, Cobblestone, I think, has started to edge towards being T-sided. A lot of teams will get a lot of rounds on T-side, but it's definitely not this T-sided. Renegades could still pick up 5 rounds, right? This is very likely going to go the way of Liquid. In fact, it definitely will. If they can draw it back to 10-5, yes, it's going to be hard, but it's doable. The only worry with that is, again, it's the nightmare of CT. If you win a round and then lose, your economy is absolutely wrecked. So, yep. Renegades, they've only managed to get 1 round in 11. I really don't see them getting, like, consecutive rounds from this point on.
It's a win out or be done situation. Like you said, if they reset at this point, they're only going to get 2 rounds in the half.
Yeah. And 2 rounds is not good enough.
Absolutely dejected. And the question now is as well, I mean, I'm looking very forward here. We still got potentially 2 more maps in this series. Definitely at least another. But if they don't recover fast enough, Winter Fox is pretty amped up based on their performance against Mouse Sports. This is definitely a true group of death. As Nitro looks to walk in again, they're giving him that space, no utilities, but Azure at Tree does finally get the kill against him, and they've changed positions a little bit with Yam. He's more forward and over toward that doorway. They may overlook him, and when he walks in, he does find one, jumping down. Elige as well, blinded up, though. That's going to be to his detriment as Adren finally gets him, but it's traded, and they've got a firm advantage here, Renegades.
Much better round from Renegades as well with how they place their utility. You saw 3 flashbangs come down, completely wrecked Liquid. They couldn't see anything, and that's why we saw these off angles working. So, yeah, this is much better from Renegades, and just wish it had shown up like 5 rounds ago, really. They do not look very happy, I think it's safe to say.
Absolutely not.
There's the flashbang there you saw at the end, just absolutely destroys 2 of the players. But here we go. Renegades have won the round. Their round loss bonus has been reset. They have to keep this going forward. They cannot afford to lose right here, right now.
And good as well that they managed to not only secure an AK-47, but keep 3 players alive. Because again, that reset, if they'd lost 4 even, they would be worse for wear. Because no chance they're going to break Liquid's massive economy before the end of the half even. Nade does come through. A little bit of damage onto Sponge and Yamp. Flash catches the edge of the doorway, and Adren again catching Sponge out. So pretty much everyone's found an opening pick, I'm sure, at this point for Team Liquid.
That's actually a really good point. They haven't been leaning too much on the likes of Nitro to do their work for them. Like, everyone's been chipping in. So you can see now again, Renegades just trying to keep some control over B. Still 2 players on A. didn't over-rotate here, leaving themselves vulnerable. But judging from the positions of Liquid, they're just about ready to strike on the B site here. And I think Renegades know it as well. This Molotov should fend off the push for a few more seconds.
Dren's got to get away from it. Shots coming against him. They try and catch the shot. Yam does get him on the exit, but leaves himself very open to Nitro, and Fugly following that up gives the advantage to Team Liquid, but Havoc gets back to Fugly to at least make it a 3 versus 2. Bomb still not planted, in position to do so now, and Nitro, he'll do the honors. Elige also hugging this corner. Azur needs to check it. It's a very common spot to be played, but the problem is he's waiting for his teammates still, and they're going to come from the same approach. They do look there, and he gets one, but Nitro pops out. Perfect peek, and he's able to get the cover before Havoc can do anything in response. And as time continues to tick, Havoc does have a kit, but it becomes harder and harder, and Nitro's going to bait him away, and that gives Hiko the shot.
Very smart post-plant positions there from Liquid. You know, using the bait, as you say. And, well, the economy now is going to be absolutely brutal for Renegades. The question is, do they go for the force? Do they just try and outright win from this point? Do they try and play a bit more safe, secure? Like, it's a tough decision. They're going to go for the force. Three scouts. Okay, then.
The only other option is a full save here to have a better utility buy in round 15, but at this point it's all about getting individual rounds. So force here, potentially win it, have guns again for 15. It's the difference between ending at 11-4 or what might be in this case 13-2. So worthy of a gamble, but unfortunately it hasn't paid off. Yam does get a lesion. Now with JKS following up, a bit more of a chance, and Yam, he gets a Dren, so it is a 2 versus 2, as the scouts are still in play as well. Hiko's gonna walk with the AK back toward that connection point, but he's tagged as well, 33 HP on Havoc, but 27 for Hiko as he comes out worse for wear, and he's made the call, let's go back to A. I've got them forced into that B site, but Nitro's not quickly enough, so he still has to smoke off the doorway, and Havoc, he's gonna walk right through. No, he thinks better of it.
Yeah, it would have been pretty ballsy to walk through the smoke there with 50 seconds to go. The terrorist could be camping it up, just waiting. And there is Hiko, holding just off balcony, waiting for the players to push him. Both of the Liquid players are pretty low here. They get a 1-for-1 trade. It's all on Hiko. Go to the pre-fire. Yam, if he lands anything onto Hiko, he's a dead man. He's going to be coming up. This is where the scout could work. He's going to be jumping and lands the shot onto Hiko. And it's going to be the defuse as well. What a shot. But again, it's just a drop in the ocean. Renegades 3 for 11.
Massive individual play game, 4 kills, and that last shot was beautiful. And this is it. This is the point. Now they force out. They get that 3rd round on the board. They did lose 4 players in doing it, but it gives them a chance to now play for 4, 11-4, which is a massive difference. Again, 11-4, you win the pistol, you get it to 11-7. You give yourself a bit of a chance to come back into the game, as opposed to 13-2, where even with the pistol, it's still a fairly helpless task. Beautiful shot.
Power of the scouts, man. Power of the scouts. This is one of the best buy-up they had in, I don't know, like 4 or 5 rounds. They finally got an AWP in the hands of Yam again. I think we've only seen him, like, once?
Twice at best. They had the double op round, which they got the early pick, Yam, using it at B, but other than that, we haven't really seen it. Havoc aggressive toward this highway position. He's trying to get some information. There are players down below to his right. He's now spotted up 1 Setch. Of course, that is Elige. But it'll slow down Liquid. Got all the time and patience in the world. And the AKs do still favor them in this situation. 1 kit, by the way, should be noted. Azur, the only one to hold on to it.
I also like the way that Liquid have been mixing up their speed, right? Like they've not always been going balls to the wall through platform with entry frags. They've been okay to mix up and play slow and wait for Renegades to go for the information pushes. Also, they must know with the economic situation that Renegades would have a lack of utility, hoping they throw some of that out to stop the initial charges and then try and make the most of it later on in the round. You can see there's only a Molotov and a smoke in the hands of Renegades right now. That's a pretty important frag though, and a second as well.
This is big. He's got the angle. There's nothing to force him off the site. Finally, Nitro will get Yam with just bullets rather than utility. But the 2 picks, is that going to be enough finally for the Australians? And the P90 of JKS will take down Nitro. Bomb still going to be planted. They're trying to find him in the smoke, and they haven't. Now they do, but it gives Hiko another chance to clutch it out. 1 versus 3 and 2 already down. 14 HP as Havoc and Azur are still full, but time's in his favor. He just needs to make this second shot. Tries to spray around the corner. Not going to happen. Havoc, he'll give them the 4th. And is that just enough? Have Renegades bought themselves something? They're going to need the pistol, but it's a bit of a chance.
Good point. They win the pistol. You're looking at maybe 11-7. Then there's a chance. There's a real glimmer of hope. That round could be massive. I've got to say, though, Hiko, you could see the talent this guy possesses. Very nearly landed the second shot purely off game sense. I think he may have heard a couple footsteps as well. But really, that's also down to Yam. Those two initial picks were absolutely crucial. If he doesn't land them, they get overran onto the site, and things would have been very different. And here, this is what I'm talking about. Just spraying across, preemptively going for that. You know, realizing where the angle is, where the head's likely to be. Kind of unfortunate, but good attempt anyway.
And I said 1-on-3. It started as a 1-on-4. He picked up that last kill, trading it, but either way, this is a good turn of events for Renegades. I know it seems weird to talk positively about 4 rounds, but based on how that half was going, it is definitely a step in the right direction, and as is that kill, as JKS will open up the pistol round. They're flooding through this drop position. It's going to be a pinch play onto A, and by taking down everyone in their way, it gives them the sight. They just have to hold off the 2 players rotating, Hiko and Elige, and Hiko is going to continue on with getting late frags as he takes down Azur, but Havoc is going to try and get Elige. It doesn't work out, so they actually have a chance here, 3 versus 2.
They do. They've got a kit as well. So if they can land a headshot here or there, they can push onto the site and do crazy things. Here comes Elige, pushing up through mid. He's being tagged from Sponge, who I believe was residing on long, and Yam picks it off onto Hiko. There was a couple of chances there for Liquid, but the fact of the matter is that Renegades held the site pretty well there. So this is what we're saying. They need to navigate them over this first hurdle, get the pistol around their belt. Now it's super important that they don't mess up and lose this next round. The force buy is going to be dangerous here from Liquid.
You're dead right, because that would be... well, you might as well throw the pistol away that you did win. JKS, we can see it as well. He's got that Zeus in play. We haven't seen as much of it today, not since day 1 when Cloud9 say... well, Cloud9 used it and also say they've got more planned for it. This is a tight position, Fugly. Bottom of danger, and they're going to walk past him. Is he going to be spotted, though? They've already looked. Everyone was looking as they went by, and Havoc is the one to get the kill. This gives up A side ultimately for free because it was a stack on B. As you said, the force buy, trying to make it most effective. And the question is now, do they even bother to retake and give up frag money to the SMGs that are in play? There's 3 of them, or do they hold on to these pistols as they did force and keep the utility for the next round?
Yeah, for me, this is the correct play. They only had a flashbang, no defuse kits. Like, the chances of you even getting a kill from there is slim to none. So just keep these pistols, keep the Kevlar if you can. Maybe get a cheeky exit frag if Renegades push you, and it gives Liquid another potential opportunity. You know, they could very well go through into the 18th round and land some headshots and turn it back around there. No point getting greedy for frags. Looks as though Renegades, though, not going to chase too hard. I think Liquid are going to save these weapons. So I'm going to be interested to see if they go for a stack on B again, or maybe mix it up and try an A this time.
And again, this just, by keeping these pistols up, they can full save this round. Have better utility in the first gun. It's a game of momentum. I mean, think if they get the 3 rounds, Renegades still looking quite silent, that has to be said. Sponge still looking a little bit frustrated. If they get the first gun round to follow it up, you go to 11-8 plus economy again. It starts to inch itself back in. Fugly gets the read, though. Now he knows that there's at least 4 players in front of him out toward that B, or rather, excuse me, that A position, and the B player, Sponge, has got to be lurking. They're going to rotate over on this call, and this is absolutely correct. But Renegades should also know that this is going to be the case and slow it down, which they have now done.
Still so much time to play with Renegades. If they want to second guess themselves, move back on towards the B site, they can do just that. One thing that may give this away is that Liquid, when they went for the stack on B, they had, I think it was Fugly who pushed up aggressively into danger. And if they check that spot and he's not around there or mid, this could potentially telegraph what Liquid are going for. So let's see how Renegades try and push on through here. It's going to be almost an identical round to what they did last time. I think it was Havoc who went down the stairs to check the spot.
He did last time. It absolutely caught out Fugly in that case. Smoke already hitting balcony. He goes behind the APC. He's got to stay silent. He will let them walk into his crosshair. And now the crossfire comes into play. JKS gets back into Fugly and Hiko, but Nitro only able to get 1. That could have been massive if he picked up the second as well. Bomb now going to be planted. Dren walks in without a support system. So interesting that they're that split up, and it leaves Elige in the 1-on-3. Low HP on 2, but it will not be enough. And Renegades will pick up their 3rd in a row, as expected after winning the pistol. And it is now 11-7.
a little bit messy for a couple seconds there, but they get the round, right? And they only lost 2 players. They've got some bomb plants. They've obviously on a bit of a win streak as well, so they're going to be able to replenish those weapons, no problem. But here comes the first real test on their T side. It's going to be a buy-up round now. Full M4s across the board, enough grenades to work with. No defuse kits for Liquid, but that may not be required anyway.
And Renegades are starting to show a bias already toward this A side, a lot more than what we saw already from Liquid. And they have to read this. Fugly, he's going to play the swing position. Liquid, in theory, in principle, they, again, you look at a guy like Adren who makes videos, and he's got the Happy Lurk video. He's critiqued this map in general, almost addressing the Valve devs about some issues, but with all that knowledge, they still struggle sometimes to get the CT side rolling. They're going to have to get it here. The 11 rounds they picked up is going to be a bonus, but there it is. The entries again from Renegades are going to pick up 2 kills on the way through. JKS getting a kill and an assist, and it leaves just Nitro, Fugly, and Elise, and they've already called it. They're going to save these weapons.
Just watching Hiko is interesting there. I'm not sure if he like panicked or they made him jump as soon as that player comes around the corner, but he jumped instantly, went for like the spray through the wooden panels there, and ends up falling. But as you say, yeah, Liquid just want to back on away, try and save these weapons. Interestingly enough, going back on to the drop zone side. I guess this is a position that you're probably not going to check if you're Renegades. It's more than likely that the weapons would be at the T-spawn itself. And this does allow Liquid to actually get a crossfire down as soon as the players push on through here. So I quite like this spot to save weapons. It's pretty solid.
Yeah, and they're not even going to peek either because they know they may have heard one go by, but another could be close. And Hazard almost looks in the correct position.
You can see they had absolutely no idea. Like, they were checking every single corner there, so. But this is good, right?
Now we're seeing them
absolutely defeated in that first half. What was it, like 9-1, I think?
It's the most I've seen Sponge talk all game. It was 9-1 at a point, you're dead right.
So to bring it back to 8-11, on a side that does certainly, I would say, have the favor on Cobblestone, that's solid.
This is a good call, though, from Liquid. They've read that it's been a lot of A play, and they've stacked up this position, but they've already spotted one good kill from Fugly as he has the only rifle, and Nitro's going to follow it up. Fugly with 2 more. That's big. This was the perfect read from Team Liquid to shut down Renegades on the A site. They've also been able to pick up another rifle, or they should. There is an AK there. Yeah, Hiko's got it. And this will leave just Azur bomb down as well. Brilliant call from Adren.
It blows my mind that Fugly gets 3 frags and doesn't get dropped. He was by himself. Like, you can see those 2 players in long, but one of them was boosted up. Was trying to catch them off guard if Fugly dies and they try and push through. Unbelievable. As is the last player, 55 seconds. The bomb, as you can see, is down on long. There's going to be a crossfire as soon as he comes through this door. He does get the first frag, but not cleanly. Down to 5 HP, and there we go. Fantastic call. Liquid finally get themselves around on their CT side.
And that's the start. Again, the 11 rounds they got T-side just means they only have to creep out 5 more. Now down to 4. They'll take it 1 round at a time as well, but they've got to play the economic game, remember. Because with 4 fairly clean rounds, there's definitely still guns up for 1 more at least on Renegade's side. In fact, JKS, he's in a good position to bring out that AWP should they elect to moving forward. But the rest of the team may have to save in the next. And again, this A pressure. Liquid's not quite read it the same. They've stacked up B heavy toward the platform as well, so long rotation points.
Yeah, complete role reversal, right? Because it was Renegades who had to constantly defend B when it was Liquid attacking on their T side. And the first frag does go to Liquid once more. It's Elige this time. Hiko will be relocating as the bullets come flying his way.
And Hiko played that very well to get that late smoke out. He heard them coming down toward long. He's made the call, so this is rotated to Dren back over. It's more of a shift, though, as well, because we do see Fugly heading back over toward the B site. I would have thought they were going to leave, 3 on the A site. As Renegades do still have the bomb in this position.
I think he's rotating again, though, now.
More timing utilities, though. This is going to buy another 7 seconds here, this Molotov, before they come through. They'll see that nade come out, and now the smokes as well. The full call should be in play. They've got to rotate, but there is a player inside drop. Keep that in mind for Renegades. That could be a thorn in their side for Team Liquid. As Adren already forced out of position on the platform, down below the wall. Nade as well, going to rain on top of him. As Stables is occupied right now by Renegades, and there it is, Sponge. He was the lurk. He's come through. He's taking down Nitro. He's got a chance for Adren, and he's spotted Hiko in the corner. This is massive from the in-game leader. of Renegades. JKS will close it out. That was a great round from Sponge.
That is huge for two main reasons. One, if your leader starts to get inspired, if he starts to pull off huge plays, that's only going to resonate with the rest of your team. Before that round, Sponge was 4 for 14. So he was having a really poor map, but that could just ignite him. And that's the way that Renegades are, right? Like, if they start to feel it, they just start to excel. Beautiful triple spray down there. And I was going to say as well, I was going to highlight, will they expect Hiko at the back barrels? Because that's a position quite difficult to fend off unless you get control of balcony, and very, very easy for the CTs to lock down the site. Here comes a potential push, though, onto the B side. Finally, from Renegades.
Too close again on balcony, or rather, excuse me, the platform at B. They could have been putting a lot more pressure here than on the drop, which they traditionally had been doing. Azure will get a leash, so that's a trade kill. They want that rifle. Nitro knows what that would mean, and he's able to get it, knowing that there was a smoke for coverage. That's big to just get that extra weapon in play in this situation. I mean, look back on this as well, 11-4. I said it might give them a chance if they could get there, and it's all that force buy on round 14 that propelled this motion for Renegades, this string of momentum they now have. Sponge again looking for the entry bomb, leading off toward that A site. 3 still on B for Liquid again, so Renegades are going to potentially walk into another vacant A site, just Hiko occupying it, but only with the 5-7.
The thing that confuses me a tiny bit there for Azure is why he'd throw that Molotov a good 5-10 seconds before the rest of his team gets here, because now they need that Molotov to force out the player behind the boxes, so they can therefore push. If Nitro gets any frags here, that Molotov was way too early. He should have had a kill. He really should have had that down. And that one misplay makes all the difference, because then Azza pushes out, he picks up 2 frags, and Renegades get the bomb plant. What a strange round of CS this has turned out to be.
And Nitro, that's not common. He's normally more disciplined than that. Gets a little bit nervous. Like you say, that was big. And again, you're right. Dead right. Great point to make is that Molotov could have forced him off the platform. They get a little bit lucky, perhaps, as they'll pick up double digits. Renegades 2 rounds the difference. And you said it, 9-1 at one point. There was 8 rounds between them. They've closed it up entirely.
All the credit in the world to Renegades, though. Like, great resilience to bounce back. You saw the looks on their faces, man, when they're at that deficit. They looked so done.
Well, this is the thing with Liquid as well, and they're known for being very, very momentum-based in games, so when they get a good lead, they normally run with it, but as soon as things start to struggle, they can completely collapse. We'll have to see if they've got any resilience to them in this case. And here it is again, this blunder from Nitro. Walks out a little bit blind, and I think potentially he thought the player was closer based on the sound cue, but a second longer, he might have been in a better situation.
It's just one of those things, isn't it? If his aim's slightly to the left there, he picks up the frag. Likely then locks down long by himself, but it wasn't to be. Now Liquid in an eco. Feeling Renegade's pain. It's one of the reasons we only saw Yam using the AWP like twice, because they simply couldn't afford to get it more times than that, right? They were constantly losing rounds. They were going for force buys. We saw a desperation double AWP come out, which nearly worked for them. But as it stands now, it's Renegade's turn to put down the hammer on the B side. It looks like they are going to be dropping down and trying to push out this defense. And indeed, that's what's going to happen. Just Nitro by himself. Bomb's going to go to B, and this is going to be a clear-cut round for Renegades.
And it is, like I say, entirely a change of emotion. Renegades definitely starting to come alive. We could hear them start to yell between rounds a few times, get themselves motivated in Liquid. They're going to have to find something, because Renegades are equaling the task. Azure again, another anti-eco frag against Adren. Liquid's going to try and circulate the map and get in behind, potentially to knock down some rifles. Be a bonus if they could pick them up for themselves.
I feel like a strat that could work here for Liquid is boosting up from drop zone. Because if Renegades are going to continue to go on A and try and lurk in mid and see if they can get some info.
The reverse flank roll.
Yeah, exactly. Just try and catch them out. Try and get some info. And even if you go into drop and you don't push around the back, it allows you to call to the rest of your teammates, it's going to be A. And you can effectively hold the B site with just one person until the push comes in. So maybe, you know, we may not see this coming into fruition in the next round or two, but this is...
Completely obliterate Liquid with last time.
There is 4 players on A site though right now. I'm just curious if Liquid are going to keep it that way or if they'll start to get a bit too itchy and go for the rotate. This is aggressive play though. You can see through mid right now. They do have a player who is locking down some information, some key information. But here come Renegades through long. This next kill, I have to say, could set up this round. If Renegades get it, I think they'll just crush onto the site.
And there's no flash. There is one flash. I take that back for Nitro. But he's not in a brilliant position to throw that out for his teammate. In fact, he's going to have to use it solo to slow down any push from lower as the nades will rain over top. Sponge getting a lead. Trying again. They use that Zeus play, and it almost seems like teams are trying too hard to use it at times as that catches them off again. Nitro getting the only kill in return. Does pick up an AK-47. Would be worth it to hold on to just for the next round, but he's not even going to get that far. And it is now 14-12. Second half, only one round so far for Liquid.
Those kind of positions on that stack is so balanced towards getting the first kill. Like, if you don't get the first kill, it's done. Like, it's absolutely done. Now, you can't necessarily say anything bad against Liquid because they had a really poor buy anyway. You're not expecting them to just rip faces off shoulders. But here we go. For me, this is the last chance saloon for Liquid. It's 14-12. They lose this, and it's going to be 3 map points, and they're going to be likely on a force buy of like a Mag 7, something like that. So do or die for Liquid on this map. And this would be brutal for them if they were to lose this from after having such a fantastic first half.
At this point, I mean, it's a mental game as much as a game of skill. That dink against Sponge might give them a bit of a chance here. They are going to take the bomb back over toward the A site. Standard formation from Team Liquid. Nitro's playing towards Statue. Rotator is going to be Fugly. Good pick by Adren, though. It gets Havoc. I was going to say Fugly's bias is in toward the B site right now. Again, this drop play, though. Renegades perhaps taking a book out of Envious or a page out of Envious's book as they try and cut them off. Fugly's aware of it. Sponge is low HP, and he'll be held in place. They don't even need to hold this. They could actually rotate sooner if they wanted to. But they're going to keep Nitro on this window just to make sure no one gets through, and that does weaken a little bit this defense on the A site.
It does indeed weaken it, but time itself is ticking against the Australians. They have to make a decision and stick with it, and it looks like that is going to be A. That plays into the hands of the AWP, but they knew Adren was here because he got an opening pick on long, of course, beforehand. Sponge is still in drop zone. They don't have enough time to really go off of this. Even if he gets the frag, it's going to mean nothing at all. And now Renegades, they do get picked off. Just the second round for Liquid, though, on their CT side.
Great read by Fugly as well to realize that Sponge had gotten down that drop and just keep him occupied. Yep. They did eventually send Nitro over to join in, but Adren picking up those 2 kills with the AWP. They finally get the money to get it out, and look at the difference it makes. And suddenly, even though they still have the lead, it is going to be a tactical timeout for Renegades because they've still got to close this out. It's a harder job, and their go-to strategy has now been figured out by Liquid.
I've got to say, I like this. I like they've gone for the tactical timeout.
Well, you might as well use it. That's the thing. Everyone has one, and it seems like it's only ever used when teams are tilting.
Exactly. It's only ever used when a team's like tilting or they were already losing by like 5-10 rounds. So this is really smart. Like, Sponge is now going to be trying to come up with some ideas, like where do we want to push. Additionally, on top of that, Liquid could have just gained some momentum. You said before, they're known for being a momentum-based team. They've just won a round. They're back in the game. Let's call a pause. Let's just hold things down a tiny bit. Let's steady the ship. Make them think about things. Make them start to worry and realize they're around behind. And really, like, dwell on the fact they were 9-1 ahead as well, right? Like,
keep in mind as well, I mean, absolutely, and it was 10-1 in response when we switched it over, but keep in mind this will reset. If Renegades can pick up this round, reset the money bonus for Liquid and leave them with very little to work with when they hit 15. So this round right now could very well end the game, essentially, for Renegades' favor. So it is worth talking about in that sense.
Absolutely. I really like it. And as we said before, it's quite rare.
Yeah, I would agree.
I wonder what the play is going to be here, if they're just going to go back to their standard A execute.
You have to say as well, I mean, this is kind of reading into it a little bit, but Renegades showing off really good T side. They were the team, as Semler said on the panel before the game, that were flying during the patch drop and didn't have a chance to play with it, and obviously CT was still an issue for them. You got to wonder how much they were affected.
That's a really good point.
I would say the same for Liquid, but we've seen issues for them on their CT side on this map before in general, so I'm not sure I can make the same excuse in their case. But what's the call? Like you said, it's just one player. Sponge lurking off site right now as the pressure comes in on B. Great nade. Azure down to 19 before they even get in, but they've spotted this boost. Elige needs to get off of it, and very, very smartly does.
Now, a part of me kind of wishes that Renegades just piled through drop zone because they knew 2 players, at least, in fact, 3 players. They saw 3 players stacked on the statue. I'd have liked them to have pushed out Dropzone a bit earlier than that, realizing it was vulnerable and potentially weak. That being said, it doesn't seem to matter because they've got the first frag. Hiko does get the spray, but instantly Yam's behind.
And they're wrapping. This is what happens by stacking up statues, so they may not have come out low. And you wanted a JKS. That's huge through the smoke. 2 players in rotation down, and Renegades, have they given themselves that elusive 15th round? Have they given themselves enough to break the economy from Team Liquid? And they'll take down Elige as well. No guns saved. Man, oh man. Yam getting that last kill. We saw Sponge lurking on the offside. He picks up 1 kill, makes the call, and I have to say that was based strictly on what you said. They spotted 2 players out toward the boost and knows then that no one's going to be able to cut them off.
Because, of course, if you see a player being boosted, there has to be at least 2 there. They also had Gunfire and a HE come from Statue. That's the one that hit Azaz. So from that trajectory, he knows exactly where the 3rd player is, and it stands to good reason from that point in. Like, the odds are in your favor that Dropzone is going to be left pretty vulnerable. Fantastic call. Liquid have better economy than I actually thought they would, so they do have enough weapons to play off with here.
And you say, may the odds be in your favor, but may the gods be in Liquid's favor, because they're going to need a prayer right now. Again, you are right. The economy does look a little better than we thought it might, but no kits. That's the big thing. And this was a huge problem for them against Luminosity a few weeks ago. On Overpass.
Issue is, though, no defuse kits, man.
Well, that's exactly it. Watch for Dren, though. He's going to get pushed back a little further. Hiko wants to counter it by getting forward spots. 1 disables, but he's blowing away all his ammos and just gets 1 kill. Azza responds as he gets up the slope, and he'll push forward with Sponge, who's going to take down a Dren. Unsighted. How does Nitro respond to this? And they've got the man advantage. Fugly is the savior coming in behind. Fast flank. And with the bomb down, it's all up to Yam inside the stables. We may not be done just yet. Good news is for Renegades, they should be in a great position economically, but can Yam do this all on his own? Fugly's down to just 19 HP. Bomb's still out of his reach. Oh, he thought about it. If he threw that HE toward ramp, how much would that make a difference? But he's caught without the gun in his hand, and Elige will give Liquid 14th round, and we will hit round 30 in the end.
It's like the ABCs of CS. If you're on T side, don't have your bomb carrier going first unless you're like on a pistol rush or an eco or something. Not if you have weapons, not if you're at this stage of the game. You saw, I didn't quite catch who it was, I'm going to be honest, my memory is like a goldfish. But he jumps over onto the stables there by himself. He loses the bomb, it gets dropped, and from there on in, the whole dynamic of that round shifts in Liquid's favor. You saw that Renegades had to go for the aggressive plays.
Havoc, look at this gun juggling up the 3rd op, so 3 AWPs in play right now for Renegades, spending all the money they had. Because again, those 10 rounds in a row gave them a lot to work with, so watch for early picks, and Liquid have already deployed.
That's really cool.
Every smoke. Okay, I take that back. They've actually got quite a few more than I thought. My mistake, but 2 smokes already. Sponge, there it is, hits Hiko. And Havoc, if he can pick up this one, would make a huge difference. Elige caught in the shin through the box, goes down to 10 HP.
Even though he doesn't die, though, as you say, he's down to 10 HP. And there's still so many threats. There's 2 HEs, there's a Molotov. In fact, there's 2 Molotovs and Renegades. And these could prove to be a determining factor later on.
And still only 1 kid as well for the CT side. Yeah. Dren's going to be the one holding on to it. Yam trying to use the AWP to spot out the player at the back of the A site. Molotov will force him off that angle, buy a little bit more time. Likewise for the one at the top, a drop, but Azur's getting closer in a Dren. His back exposed. Let's get back in toward the connector position, so they're going to play a more passive approach here. Elige's going to stay in that corner as he is low on HP, and Fugly's going to have to distract, but he's in such a fragile spot. So much to cover in so little time, and Elige gets spotted first, so now Fugly, he's actually snuck around them. This could work out so brilliantly. Needs to execute trigger discipline, stop the bomb from being planted. He does it with the M4 in the first shot, and unfortunately that means they turn his attention before he can get the second. If he picks up 2 and even stops the bomb plant, it gives Liquid a chance, but now Nitro has to clutch this out. 1 on 3, can't do it, and what a comeback from the Australians. They will take Cobblestone, and my God, Liquid, how do they get themselves back into it now?
Renegades have just pulled off the great escape, man. They were getting battered and bruised on their CT side. They looked down and out. Their body language was horrendous. They were barely speaking to one another. It doesn't matter, right? Because the quality rose to the top. Liquid then, I don't know what happened, man. I would be very interested to hear from their perspective. You know, obviously not right now because they could be feeling like it afterwards, but what went wrong? Because
I would say
nothing worked.
If you want to look at the T sides, which is where things went right, I mean, Liquid executed brute force, but Renegades outthought them. That was great strat calling from Sponge, switching things up on sites, breaking things up with the drop. play to cut off rotations, and no answer whatsoever from Adren really on that CT side. They've got more work to do. Again, that was Renegades map choice, but a steal there going to overpass, and this could have been done in 2 for Liquid, I dare say, but we will take a break. We will catch our breath, and we will be back with overpass.